Good afternoon and welcome to Rubbin Minds. My name is Isabella Adediji. President Bola Tinubu said, let the poor breathe. But with the increase in the price of petrol, twice in less than 2 months, the poor are asking a lot of questions. They are being suffocated by the increase in affording daily commodities. We've seen a weakened naira, where the naira to the dollar has gone up. We're also seeing planned increases in things like fees. We heard the announcement of Unity schools saying they're increasing their fees. Some universities have come out to increase their fees. And I bet that it's not only the poor that are suffocating, even the middle class will be struggling to catch a breath. To discuss some of these issues and these new realities under this new dispensation, I have with me a media personality in the person of Stephanie Mbachu. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having me. Hello.
I also have a multimedia content creator from Zikoko Citizen, Blossom Sabo. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So let's go straight into it. Can you go maybe 2 months down the line and say, how much were you spending on petrol? And fast forward, how much are you now spending on petrol? And what impact has that had on your daily life? I'll start with you, Stephanie.
Hi. So I don't even drive, but I'm feeling it. Like you said, Tinubu said we should let the poor breathe. And I'm not even, you can tell from my voice that I don't think I'm breathing properly because I'm dying of everything. But how much did I spend 2 months ago? I would say, as at 2 months, I think it was 500 and something per liter. Now it's almost 700 and something. So it's crazy. And I don't even drive, but I'm feeling it because if they increase the fuel price, we're also going to feel it. You understand? If you're taking like public transportation, you're taking private cars, one way or the other,
even when you use these apps that ride-hailing services, the prices have gone up.
Yeah.
And then when we look at petrol, it's not just transportation. We're also looking at productivity of businesses that rely on generator sets to power their businesses. How has this fuel increase been for you, Blossom?
Okay, so personally, I am going to use a scenario that happened like 2 months ago. So fuel was around 187 naira. Then it got increased to like 488 naira. So I was supposed to go somewhere from Yaba to VI. And getting there, I spent close to 8,000 naira. And it was so outrageous for me. It got so bad that I had to take public transport back to the house. So it just shows how bad the state of things have become currently. Like you said, the poor can't breathe. You know, so many things are just stagnant. Cost of productivity is low. Productivity itself is low. So yeah, that's like basically it for me.
Okay, but we know why the president has announced the removal of subsidy, and there is even a planned, there's a planned, will I say, palliative of 8,000 naira to 12 million Nigerians, the poorest of the poor who are not breathing. Do you think this is enough, and do you think this is the kind of palliatives that will help the average Nigerian?
Should I? Do you want to
You could go first.
Okay, so 8,000 naira. Unilag, how much are they paying now? So if he gives everybody 8,000 naira,
12 million Nigerians.
Of course. And
That's
they have
the poorest
three
of the poor.
kids in federal schools. So those 3 kids will pay up to 600. It's 8,000 naira. How much did I used to come here today?
And you know, it's interesting because these figures we're hearing are figures of people who are living in Lagos, where the price of petrol is still considerably lower compared to the other parts. I mean, you have people paying as much as 600, 700 in other parts. And there is speculation that this price might increase because of the new dollar to naira conversion. What do you think about the 8,000 naira palliative, Blossom?
So personally, I don't feel that scheme is right. I don't feel it's right because, you know, 8,000 naira, I'm putting myself, family of, let's say we're like a family of 4, 8,000 naira per month. I don't even the minimum wage that is 30,000 naira is not even doing anything currently. So the 8,000 naira as a palliative scheme is not a for me.
It's interesting you should mention minimum wage, because a lot of people are saying, rather than focus on, say, these 12 million Nigerians, why don't we look at this holistically and talk about a review of the minimum wage? And when you were responding to my question, you talked about school fees. Now, that's just one item. We're looking at healthcare, we're looking at transportation, looking at food. I mean, we've seen inflation, rising inflation. So we've seen these effects of this increase in petroleum products. But right now, what can be done and what should be done in the short term? Like, what will be a good palliative for you?
Okay, so personally, I feel this money should go into, because the whole fuel subsidy thing threw everybody off balance. Yeah, I feel this 8K palliative thing should go into building refineries. Yeah, because the whole, how would I call it now? The whole 8K palliative, you know, they removed fuel subsidy without creating alternatives, and it just threw everybody off balance. So I feel, you know, using that money to build refineries, because
then
honestly,
it affects everybody, and then the cost of things can begin to reduce. Some people have started introducing work from home. Some people have cut the number of days, whether it's for school or for the office. Is that enough, Stephanie?
I wouldn't say it's enough, but it will be effective, you know, because when people don't go to work every day, they're not spending so much money. So it will be effective. I'm not even going to front. But it's not enough, because at the end of the day, one thing I always say, we need compassionate leaders, because if you're compassionate, you would not only think about yourself. For example, if I am privileged, if I have so much money, if I come from a wealthy background, I need to be compassionate enough to understand that not everybody is in my position. So if you think about people who cannot afford things, you'll be compassionate enough to reduce the prices of a lot of things. Like, I mean, we're literally complaining about the fuel subsidy, and now we're complaining about the amount people are paying in schools. There are a lot of poor people in Nigeria. I mean, I was at a friend's place last week. They cannot even afford 10K units of lights. It's really bad. And this woman has a child in UNN. So if she cannot even afford 10K for lights, how much is she now going to pay her child?
The school fees, the cost of transportation there, the living expenses. What do you think the minimum wage should be in light of all of this, if 8,000 is not enough as a supplement?
No,
Stephanie?
Okay, so I would want to trace back to the previous question. And, you know, she talked about, you know, HRs and management implementing work from home. But what of the informal workers? What of the construction workers? You know, people that have to, you know, they have to be on site.
The factory workers.
Yeah, the factory workers. You know, so these people, if the cost of movement is outrageous, who would build these houses? Who would fix these infrastructures and all? So I think, you know, the government should fix, you know, just fix like an alternative, honestly, because, like I said, moving from one place to another is becoming outrageous. Then the other question you talked about...
the minimum wage.
Minimum wage. Honestly speaking, so many things need to be reviewed. I really can't even give a specific amount on what the minimum wage should be currently. But if everything is reviewed, you know, from the different criteria where problems are coming up from, I think whatever price is being fixed at that point in time would be sufficient enough to go about.
Some have said as high as 200,000, but when you have figures like that, the question then becomes, how are employers going to make enough money to be able to increase fares? So doesn't that have a domino effect where they increase the price of goods and services to be able to pay this minimum wage, if it should be reviewed? True. Stephanie, I'd like you to comment on the minimum wage revision. Is that a conversation we should be having alongside palliatives, alongside all these economic reforms?
True. I think it's a conversation that we should be having. I don't think 200K is too much. For a family, if you have a family of 4 and 5, I don't think 200K is too much. I think with 200K, at least you're able to cover feeding, like the essentials, the most important thing, like you need water and, you know, sheltering and whatnot. So personally, I don't think it's expensive. But the other question, I don't think I caught the other one that you asked.
No, you did.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
You were the one who
You
responded
answered
first,
first,
and
yeah.
she wanted, there was the working from home and
Okay.
how it affects productivity and, of course, how affordable that is. Now, the president is yet to still release his ministerial list. Do you feel that in the coming weeks when we see that list, that might introduce or encourage or incentivize foreign direct investment, which might then help the Naira, and then we begin to see maybe some things coming down lower?
Okay, so personally for me, production is stunted in Nigeria. And I think that's what more foreign investors want to look at, like, oh, okay, if I invest this money, what's the, how will I put it down? What's
The returns on investment.
Yes, on it. And like I said, you know, him getting his ministers, and it might or might not, you know, affect the whole foreign investor thing. You know, I don't know how the whole thing is going, but personally, if the cost of production is not like, for the past 2 months now, so many things have been stunted, so many things have been reduced. You know, people are not even eager to want to move around because, you know, before you move, you're calculating so much, you're doing so much, and all. So
You go think.
yeah. So many things are like, you know, personally, the ministers, I don't know, and I don't think it would affect the whole foreign investor thing.
Stephanie, a lot of people will say that the darkest time of the night is just before the dawn. Do you feel that this time is going to usher in a time of light, a time of goodness, where things begin to brighten up? Or going by what the president has been doing in the past 2 months, are we expecting to see even harsher conditions?
Yes. My honest opinion, yes. Me as Stephanie, I don't think I really believe in this country. Only the people in the diaspora or the rich people really believe in the country. You will not go to Makoko, you will not go to Okoko Maiko and ask somebody that is suffering, do you see lights at the end of the tunnel? They will tell you, no, I don't see any lights at the end of the tunnel. So personally, I don't think, my own honest opinion, I don't think I'm looking forward to any lights at the end of any tunnel.
I mean, the argument and what has been said is that some of these monies from subsidizing fuel are being saved so that they can channel them into infrastructural development. But the thing is, how long will Nigerians have to wait before they begin to see the gains of these savings?
Yeah.
And during this time, what can the government, or what should the government be doing to address these needs right now, while we're waiting for the infrastructure, while we're waiting for the Naira to bounce back, while we're waiting for the local refineries to start local production? What should be done now to affect not just the poor, the middle class, and I dare say the rich are also struggling to breathe?
Okay. So as a multimedia journalist for the Coco Citizen, we produce a show called Everyday Citizen. And this show, you know, I go to the streets, see and document people's plight on certain situations. And it's really hard seeing the country from a promising ground. It's really hard seeing the country from a promising ground. You know, people just, so many things are happening. Like the standard of living is poor, you know, for a country that has variety of food. Food is a problem now. Food is considered luxury now. Yeah, so I don't think anything that has to be done now, yeah, is probably creating alternatives for these people. Alternatives like I said, the refinery for the fuel subsidy thing, you know, more agricultural construction, more employment rates too, you know, to help the whole growth, you know, to help even the middleman, the poor man, and because now I personally believe there is no middleman now.
Yeah, the middle class is eroding.
Yes.
It's being eroded because of the high cost of living. Stephanie, what should the government be doing now? Should we be seeing maybe subsidizing of transportation? Should we be seeing subsidizing of food? Even while it takes some time for the infrastructure to be developed, in the short term, what can the president do and state governments do to cushion the effects of some of these hard realities?
Okay, I think the government should put subsidy on food and transportation. It's very important because, you know, we have people who go to work, at least let them feel comfortable to an extent. The Lagos states, we have BRT. You know, if you're going to slash prices, try. Like, just help people. Let them know that, okay, at least you care about me. The food that I'm eating, if I go to the market now, I know, okay, I'm not paying so much. And then, like she said, employment is also very important. Like, in as much as you're helping subsidize transportation and food, you should actually create employment opportunities for we, the citizens. At the end of the day, like, we put you in power. We deserve to be human, at least. This is, I don't think this is, we're not, are we,
we're not
right now,
asking,
are we human
we're
beings?
not asking for anything outrageous.
I mean, President Bola Tinubu came up with the slogan of renewed hope, and there's a lot of anticipation in the air that things will change for the better. Have you at any point started missing the previous administration or life during the previous administration, Blossom?
Okay, so this is a very funny question because our last episode on everyday citizen, this was the question we asked everyday Nigerians that, oh, okay, so do you miss the previous administration? Personally, I don't miss the previous administration because it's almost like, okay, citizens have new hope whenever like a new administration is coming in, and for every time, their hope is being dashed like against the wall consistently and continuously. So I don't miss any administration. I just feel like, okay, they should do what's right, yeah, for everybody to like be able to benefit from it.
Okay. What about you, Stephanie? Do you miss the previous administration?
No way, I don't. I also want to point out something. I think Nigerians, all of us as a whole, minus Misha, we tend to, you know, when you are like a punching bag.
Yes.
Somebody keeps punching. You say, I did chest them.
So we're very resilient.
Yes. Because
we go better. Somehow we go manage.
We go manage. There's not, if you go to France is a good example. Any small thing, they're outside.
Protesting.
They mount the barricades.
They are outside. I'm not saying that we should be violent, but we should learn to say, please, it's enough. Like, I can't, because people on Twitter and on Facebook and on Instagram, everybody will complain, oh my God, how will I feed my family? How will I? Next week, we they manage.
So it's now time to hold the government accountable, to ask the hard questions and to demand for good governance. I think the final question I'll ask is on the cost of governance. What should we be seeing? What should the government be doing to save on the cost of governance? And any one of you can take that.
And the cost of governance. Can you rephrase that question?
Yeah, like there's so much money that goes into running this country. Do you feel that we should reduce the cost of governance?
Yes, please. Yes, please. Because, okay, recently I like they said, it's fake news. But I got to see like government increasing politicians' salary.
There was a planned increase. So those are not the kind of conversations we should be having now. Okay. If we're not increasing minimum wage, definitely we shouldn't be thinking about increasing the remuneration of public office
Like
holders.
what have they done?
Yeah.
So much.
That's all we can take. Thank you very much, Stephanie Mbachu, and thank you very much, Blossom Sabo, for your contributions on Rubbin Minds. We'll be going on a quick break now. Do join us again.